Well, welcome everybody. You're jumping into the beginning of a conversation I'm having with my new friend Sean from NFT Talks. And so you get to join the conversation, but I'm talking with Sean, not you. You just get to listen. Thanks for your attention. So I'm broadcasting live now through Attention Live's YouTube channel, through our Amazon Echo device skill. I don't say the A word because it'll fire off. And so people can access that on an Amazon device for free. They can go access it for free on YouTube. If I chose not to broadcast there and I wanted to put it on a special server where people had to pay me, that's fine. As a content creator, I can do that. The point is to give options, right? But ultimately, and see, like this is what pops up. So right now, the YouTube URL pops up. So I can click on that, and that would be the way that people can be listening to us right now. So when it comes to how people make money, I think that right now we're in two paradigms, and NFTs are going to unlock a third paradigm. The first paradigm is you give me your attention and I'll give you my content. It's a value exchange. I want your attention so bad. I want to influence you to buy my product, to buy my service, to think that I'm cool, whatever it is that's important to somebody. And if you give me your attention, and if you share this, and if you like, and if you comment, and if you engage with me, then I will give you the best of who I am for free. So that's one paradigm. Paradigm two is I'm Oprah, I'm important, and everybody knows me, and they're willing to pay me for my content. So I want to create this, and if you pay X for one-time access or X for monthly access, you can now have access to my content because I have the ability to put a paywall between me and you because I don't really need your attention. I already have the world's attention. The third paradigm I'm most excited about is the 17-year-old girl that has all the same skills and character traits and abilities of somebody like Oprah, but no audience. And I love the idea that she can herself potentially do something to get the audience to give her their attention. So this could be a lot of different forms, right? If you listen to me live, I'll give you one of my 1,000 silver NFTs, which is kind of like I'll compensate you for your attention. And I think this is a really interesting concept. Right now, NFTs are like, I created a photograph, I created a piece of art, I put it on there, and I want you to give me hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars for this because there's only one, only 10. I think there's something to be said for, I created this content, I've created these NFTs, and the first 10, 100,000 people that engage with my content will get one of these as a value exchange. I'm not just giving you content for your attention, I'm giving you something of value. This specific special NFT of value that you could potentially leverage or resell. So I think right now we're in two paradigms. I'm a creator, pay me for my content. I'm a creator, I'll give you my content if you give me your attention. And I'm a creator, and I will honor you, respect you, value you, compensate you for your attention. Now, to put a pin in this, play this out for the 3 billion people around the world that make less than $2 a day that are getting internet for the very first time. And recognize that all of them are going to have a pair of glasses sent to them with a voice interface, or they're going to have a watch sent to them with a voice interface, or they're going to have a ring or a fingernail or a little thing on their tooth or whatever the hell they get sent. And it's going to be connected to Starlink's satellites or Jeff Bezos' Origin satellites or Richard Branson's Virgin satellites. But somebody's going to win the satellite war, connect the 3 billion people that don't make any money. And then you ask, how about the first world? Will they be willing to provide value to the 2/3 world, the developing world, for their attention? And since a voice interface can translate content from English to some foreign unknown language and vice versa, a lot of the language barriers will be eliminated. So a lot of our big broad things that we're trying to accomplish at Attention Live is around these massive ambitions around getting billions of people on this platform to create and consume content with NFTs as a major value exchange. It doesn't mean that we won't create a token for our platform, as we've talked about for years to do, to have our own cryptocurrency in a sense to kind of make the economy run. That may be the case, but we're really focused on the one of one non-fungible tokens because there's ways that value can be added to these things that it really opens up an unlimited number of ways that content creators can benefit their communities and that these communities, these audiences can engage with the content creator. And then you play it out with celebrities, you play it out with professional sports teams. It starts to get very, very exciting what can happen when you add content and NFTs with modern media.
That's crazy. Like, that's just blown my mind. The way you just, especially the way you explained it very well. And two things that I wanted to ask you. One thing is when you're saying, as a content creator, you want to give back a reward for someone listening to your content. Do you see that working with something like social tokens then? Is that like an aspect? Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I'm always hesitant to get behind anything specific, right?
Okay.
Like
yeah, all right, yeah.
This specific cryptocurrency, this specific chain, this specific decentralized autonomous community or decentralized autonomous organization or this specific speaker or conference. Time will tell what the market chooses. And when the market makes a decision, there will be kings and queens made, and there will be a lot of disappointed people that will not end up with return on their investment of money, time, or energy. So especially since I have a very persuasive personality, I'm not sure if you could tell, Sean, but usually we go see the movie I want to see.
I'm already a buyer, yeah.
We usually go to the restaurant I want to go to, if you know what I'm saying. So I also recognize that because I have a personality that people are like, yeah, that sounds good, I'm on board. I try not to talk about specifics, but in general, yes, the answer is yes. All these different types of approaches at creating value amongst communities and having value exchange, if we can get away from value exchange only being the pound and the yen and the dollar, or only being American stamps, British coins, right? Or only MLB baseball cards and NFL, football cards and proper football cards over in Europe, right? Like if we can get away from like these centralized governments, centralized institutions, they're the ones that decide these coins and these stamps have value. This fiat currency has value. These cards and these collectible items that have the stamp of approval, this has value. If we could get away from some of those things and the people can start to create things that are valued for the people, by the people, I think we'll be much better off as society.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you touched on quite a few things in regards to NFTs are built off community. It's built in trust. Money, even money, fiat money is a trust thing. I mean, paper,
That's
but
right.
We trust in it, and that's why we value it. And it's no different that what can happen for cryptocurrency can happen for NFTs. As long as a community and we trust and someone values it, it will work.
Right.
And I love the fact that you're talking about the future of like people that have not even connected to the internet yet.
Yeah.
Like I ain't heard anybody talk about that aspect. I mean, we've got pretty much half of Africa that are not connected to the internet yet, but they are soon because there are projects like Project Simba and whatnot. And people are trying to connect them. So when they do connect to the internet, what is going to be there for them? And the fact that you're looking into that and potentially giving them a route to connect to the rest of the world is amazing.
So think about Africa.
Yeah.
There's a large percentage of Africa that are connected. They speak a modern language. Their language is an easy language to translate between other major languages like German and French and Spanish and English. But there's also a group in Africa, sporadically throughout the continent, that don't speak a major well-known language. Now ask yourself, are these people going to be given computers with keyboards? Are they going to be 10 fingers on the keyboard? Are these people going to be given phones like we have? And they're going to be 2 thumbs on a piece of glass? Are they really going to learn how to engage with technology that way? Probably not. And also they're unbanked. So are they going to go get bank accounts and start to get paychecks that go to? Probably not. So you have to ask, for the underserved, undeveloped world, unconnected from the internet, unbanked, impoverished, since they get to start from scratch, how might they engage with technology? Might it be an advantage for them to use their voice? Might it be an advantage for them to use decentralized technologies connected to decentralized autonomous organizations, be part of and create decentralized autonomous communities? Might it be an advantage for them to use cryptocurrency because they're unbanked anyways? And might it be an advantage for them to create, trade, collect NFTs, even if those NFTs are worth pennies, not hundreds of thousands of dollars? Because the major price tags on NFTs is not the end result of where NFTs are going. NFTs should be able to range from pennies to tens of millions of dollars. But when you think about the underdeveloped world, a lot of the value exchange is going to be these small amounts of value that are exchanged, these nano payments, these micro payments, whether they're done through fungible tokens, like Nike might say, for anybody in the undeveloped world, we'll give you $3 in cryptocurrency if you just spend 3 hours listening to our content in English and speaking into, I mean, there's a million ways that this can happen. Like, there's no limit. But when you think about Africa as a continent, and you think about how many of our paradigms these people do not currently operate in, and we recognize that the way that we're operating with 10 fingers on a keyboard, 2 thumbs on glass, fiat currency, centralized corporations and governments making all of the decisions that we basically have to be subservient to. Well, since they don't necessarily walk into that same thing, they might become the leaders of the free world because they're starting as children, like not age, but children into this new opportunity when they first have the internet.
Fresh minds.
That's
fresh
right.
Perspective. Yeah. It makes sense. Makes complete sense. Yeah. Okay. So that's amazing. This is why I love natural conversations like this, because we're talking about attention live, but we've gone into talking about things that are going on in Africa, the undeveloped world, and whatnot. But it's important. It's important to talk about these things because these things are there. These are people, and it's opportunity for everybody. And that's why I love about NFTs, crypto, and whatnot in the decentralized space, because it opens doors and I think it levels the playing grounds for a lot of people. It's just I get that vibe of. I mean, I'm old enough when the internet came around, old enough when social media was around. I didn't really say I took full advantage of that opportunity, I can honestly say. But this space, I feel like everybody's in the scene at the moment gets that same feeling, like, this is one not to be missed because this is going to change everything, the way we do everything. Right. What's your thoughts? Okay, let's moving on then. What's your thoughts on like things like the Metaverse and how the virtual world, what's going to happen with NFTs in the virtual world? I'm really interested to hear your perspective of that based on what you've said to me already.
So I start with the people, like the leaders. Okay, so I say to myself, what do I think about Sebastian and his team at Sandbox? So I start there. I say, okay, I met Sebastian 3 years ago and his team out of France, and I've experienced consistently nothing but positive things with him and his team. Well, see, I like to start there. I'll give you another example. I met Dirk, the co-founder of Upland, before I understood Upland as kind of like, this monopoly-esque approach to the blockchain. And I said, how do I like Dirk and his team and all that they've created in the past? So a lot of times I'll start with the people that are building out the metaverse. Okay. Now I'm not going to mention any of the people I've met that I was like not really vibing with. So I didn't lean in as much into some of the other metaverse because of that. See, if I can start with the people, then I can track, because I'm not trying to buy a bunch of land really quickly and, oh, look how much land I got, or you should buy a bunch of land in this metaverse and that metaverse, or you should create this metaverse, that metaverse, because I have the long view of it. Right now, some people might say, well, that's dumb. when you see Bitcoin for $10, you buy as much Bitcoin as you can. And if you have a long view and you miss out, it's like, okay, well, some people might miss out because they have a long, patient view. I'm trying to look at the really broad implications. 25 years from now, how will this impact the 8 billion people in the world, right? 25 years from now, how will this impact? Now, Metaverse is, in my mind, a foregone conclusion. So we're going to have alternate realities that will be accessed mostly, in my mind, through augmented reality glasses. So I personally believe that most of the metaverse is going to be accessed in the real world with augmented reality glasses. Now, I also believe that the metaverse environments that will have the greatest success will be fully interoperable with no barriers to take land from, as an example, sandbox to upland and vice versa. Now, that may not be possible today, but the spirit around that has to be in place. They have to be operating as decentralized autonomous organizations, sandbox, upland, etc. And they have to be operating as decentralized autonomous communities where the community of land collectors and content creators inside those places really feel like they have anonymity and the ability to be in control of their asset. I think video games is maybe going to be the most important thing that drives this, right? So as soon as you have the final fantasies of the blockchain world, you know, as soon as like Sandbox really becomes the Minecraft of the blockchain world, or as once Upland really truly becomes the board game, the monopoly of the blockchain world, video games are going to just drive the metaverse because people are going to be like, look, I made this sword, I made this shield, I made these shoes, I look at my hat, did you see my cloak? And that is going to be a really big driver. And what's going to happen, I'll tell you, this is a big one for the metaverse. You're going to have a kid that starts off, she's 14 years old, and by the time she's 23, 9 years in, she's accumulated 6 figures of metaverse assets. But she's kind of done. Like, she's kind of done playing in the world of metaverse. Yeah. And the fact that she can take all of her metaverse assets that she's created in 1 or 100 different blockchain video games over the next 9 years, and that she can sell all of that to a new person, or break it up into 10,000 different pieces of sale, and be able to extract all that value from the metaverse to use in the real world as a down payment for a house, to buy herself a car, to send herself to college. When that stuff starts to happen, Sean, then people will really start to recognize, wow, when I was a kid, I spent 10,000 hours on Final Fantasy. I spent 10,000 hours on Madden. I spent 10,000 hours mastering chess. And when I walked away with nothing but the experience. These kids are playing games and accumulating assets. And when they're done with the game, they can just put the assets on the market. So I think that video games that empower young people to create and benefit from their creation when they're done engaging with that environment, that is going to be just the huge forerunner, like the plow that hits the ground for the first time and like has to like till that ground. Or you imagine like weeds that are 7 feet tall and you got that thing that's knocking down the weeds. It's so hard to do it the first time. So you have to find an easy way. You have to sharpen that machete. And the way to sharpen the machete to build the metaverse is likely going to be attached to video games, empowering young people to create content and assets that are their own, that they can then distribute and liquidate afterwards, generate revenue, extract the revenue out of the metaverse into the real world, and then say, look at me, I'm one of the 100,000 kids in Generation Z that did this thing in the metaverse and built a life both in the metaverse and out. And I think people will kind of come and go, but I think young people will drive it with video games.
It's happened though, isn't it, Ian? It's happened. We look at influencers today. It's happened. Influencers will be laughed at many years ago. What you're doing, putting content out there. Now these guys some of them are millionaires, very wealthy individuals, just to be being the first on the platform and doing something. Because attention follows whether it's money follows where the attention is, isn't it? That's
Yes.
what it is. And the attention's on the metaverse, or whether it's your phones or whatever, like it's going to happen. And I feel that like you said, gaming is a massive industry.
That's right.
Massive. And the amount of hours I'm in my 30s, I spent hours on games like Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Warcraft, everything. And I couldn't accumulate anything from it. But then there's the kids these days, it's a lot different. And they're spending money in there. And even the way the people are producing the games these days with buying the game, you get the game for free, but you do in-app purchases. That whole way of thinking, it just makes sense. It just makes complete sense about what you were saying and where things are going and where things are going to end up. And I feel that there's a lot. I mean, when I have conversations, I'm not sure about yourself in your circles, but I mean, I have a circle too, also, that people have no information about crypto, not into their NFTs. I have conversations, they're like, "That's crazy. That's not going to happen. That's stupid. Why would people do this? Why would?" And you got to think about what are people. You just got to look at what people are actually doing. People say the metaverse is crazy, but we live in social media. We're living in a virtual world to a certain extent, I would say, because we're living in your phones. We spend a lot of time on our phones, and that's just going to evolve. So I don't know if you agree with that yourself, but I completely, I completely feel where you're coming from, and it excites me because, like I said, we're early, but like I said, it's about the right people getting into, say, power, or the right people doing the right things with that, because I feel that it can work both ways. Do you agree?
100%. Again, a lot of this is the really speedy evolution of humanity as we are becoming cyborgs. So if you think about NFTs, right? So there was an artist, like I was really involved with an artist that's created about $250 million of his own artwork over the last 50 years. Okay, about 20,000 original paintings. His most extravagant paintings were big canvases. They were like 8 feet by 6 feet. They were big canvases. And he'd have like 20 canvases. And it'd take 9 months to paint these paintings. So here he is, 9 months of his life is spent painting 20 paintings. Like, I don't have any idea how many hours, because he would just work 20-hour days. And he would build out these paintings with oil paint. Okay, it was like 80 layers of oil paint. Now, 9 months of his life created 20 paintings. And then he would then sell those paintings for a high dollar to collectors, or he would have them scanned to make lithographs or make posters or puzzles or coffee mugs or whatever the hell he would buy. Okay, so that was an old paradigm. And then came the new paradigm, which was strange because a lot of artists started to give their content away for free, okay, just for attention. So here he is, he's an artist, and his artistry is, I create all this art and then I get as many different versions of this art and I try to sell it to people. Give me your money and I'll give you my art. And then our generation was, well, I'm just going to create photos, create videos. Maybe I will do some painting. Maybe I will make some music, but I'm not going to charge 99 cents because nobody will pay for it anymore on iTunes. So I guess I'm just going to basically give it away for free because then people come to my concerts. And we're in this kind of broken society, and NFTs in a large part solves this. Okay, so we're having this evolution from create content, paintings, sell that to collectors, you give me money, I give this to this kind of broken bridge that we're on, which is I'll create all this content and give it away for free to all these people. It doesn't matter if I'm a musician, it doesn't matter if doesn't matter. I'll create content, I'll give it away. And now we're in a paradigm with NFTs where I can now track exactly who engages with my content. So in the case of Attention Live, we're focused on audio content. So anybody that's creating audio content, their live content and their archived content. And when they put it through our system, we put it everywhere. Well, therefore, we can track all of the engagement. Well, that engagement adds value to the content, right? So if a podcast gets 100,000 listens, well, then that NFT obviously has a lot more value because it's attached to an audience that's listened that much. And then like
YouTube.
And then the NFTs can then be sold. And every single time there's a first or a secondary or a 40th or 140th sale, the original content creator will extract a little bit of value from that. And also, the content creator is empowering their collectors to extract value each time as well. So, you see, this is the NFT is an area where every single person involved benefits. The content creator, the artist, the musician, the podcaster, etc. They get compensated when somebody wants to own their NFT. That collector gets compensated when they resell the NFT for a profit. And the original content creator gets benefited. So when you look at the evolution of art and content creation, whether it's paintings or music or talking on the radio, now podcasting, or being on TV, or now YouTubing, when you look at that, it was you used to create content and sell it. And then we got to a place where we give content away for free, for attention. And now finally we're in this place where we can have a value exchange and everybody is compensated for their content, for their attention, for their advocacy, their resale. And so you kind of see how these things are changing while technology is just blazing at a light speed, right? It wasn't that long ago. We were hunkered over, 10 fingers on a keyboard with this big, loud, hot box in front of our face. And then it became a small little box. We went to coffee shops. And then we got a phone. And now it's two thumbs on glass, right? But everybody's kind of like this all the time. And I feel fairly confident that what we're transitioning to is glasses. And that we're transitioning.
Snapchat already do that, don't they? Snapchat with the spectacles.
So I've had the specs, and there's obviously some issues with the specs. I have the newest version of the specs. I haven't gotten the new ones yet. But some of the issues with the specs are battery life, the amount of content you can create. Like, there's some things that have to be overcome. Nevertheless, the thought that you could have the computer on your face and that you can just talk to everything, like, what's the weather? Boom. And you can whisper it. Like, okay, so let me play out a scenario for you. You're walking, you see a celebrity, you just whisper, zoom in on him and take a picture. Boom. Search the internet to see if there's any paparazzi sites that wants a photo of him. Yes, this site wants a photo, they'll pay $75. This site wants a photo, they'll pay $85. This site wants a photo, they'll pay $55. Okay, just create an NFT and put it on sale for $50 and then promote it. Let somebody else grab it for $50 and resell it so I can get paid on it every single time it's reused. Can you imagine that if while you're walking was just getting some exercise, you take a photo with your mouth, with your glasses, you say all that to your system, it creates the NFT, which then spurs on the ability to generate income for you immediately and ongoing. Like, these things are phenomenal. Okay, so take another scenario. You're in your car and you see something beautiful. So you jump out and you just say, take a 1 minute time lapse. So you set your glasses down, boom, and it does the time lapse. And you say, okay, upload to Foundation their time lapse page and put my NFT for sale for a 0.01 Ether. I only want $20, but what I really want is I want somebody to like it, buy it, collect it, and then go resell it. So NFTs are creating an opportunity that if we can get really, really fast with content creation, capturing conversations and audio, capturing photographs, videos, time lapses, if we can get really, really good at doing this, ideally with something as easy as just glasses on our face or a watch on our wrist or a ring on our finger, where it's just ready to go. Boom, you point and it's done, right? And then you immediately can just talk to the machine and say, create the NFT inside OpenSea, create the NFT inside Digitable, create the NFT inside Rarible. And it's all done for you because we have the tech enabled to give everybody the immediate internet access to what's on their face, in my mind. So I think this is a lot of where we're going in terms of the speed of creating NFTs and the ability to know what's needed. I mean, I imagine also going down the road and your assistant says to you, hey, just so you know, you're about a quarter mile away from this place and this organization is willing to pay $19 for a photograph of it. Yeah, pull over. Boom. Send it up. And it's all done as a non-fungible token, right? Because it's a one-of-one photograph that you took for the express purpose of getting the $19. The $19 gives that organization non-exclusive commercial rights to use it for 1 month, and then it's removed and you retain ownership because you have a second NFT thing that can be created. All these things have the opportunity to create value and hierarchy of access and benefit, and to automate the entire damn thing so that you and I as content creators never have to chase down, hey, you use this interview with the two of us from NFT Talks. You didn't get my permission. Well, we'll never have to chase people down because everything we create will be an NFT. Some things you create will be your NFT. Some things I create will be my NFTs. Maybe this conversation ends up becoming 3 NFTs. One that we both have the rights to leverage our conversation, and then a separate one that's just the words you say, your transcription, your audio. One is a separate NFT that's just the words I say. So that way I could take the content I say and capitalize on that content, either written or audio, as well as you. So every single time there's a 2-person interview, there's 3 minimum NFTs that are auto-created to be able to capture value from those by bringing that content to the market in a totally different way that's automated and removes all the friction. All the barriers to getting content out gets removed.
Makes total sense. And like I said, explanation wise, like you covered it. So there's not even a question to ask around that. The only thing before we round it up is just 2 quick answer I want for yourself is, what are the bottlenecks now? What would you say is what was going to help the space grow? What are things that are a struggle at this point? I thought there's a lot of things that need sorting, but what would you say the main thing we need to get over in order to help the space grow?
For NFTs, the big bottlenecks, I don't really think there are any, to be honest with you. I think there's just a lot of progress. I think there's a ton.
I would say like user experience. I mean, in regards to like that side of it, and
it's
also,
just moving,
I think awareness education is going to be a major thing.
It's all just moving so quick.
At this point.
Yeah, it's all. So I agree with you. You're right. It's also moving just so quickly that you and I say right now, the biggest problem is that there's not great education. But then by the time this comes out, that is solved.
Yeah.
Or we say, the user experience is just horrible. But by the time this is heard by the person that accesses it as evergreen content in 3 months or 3 years, that problem was solved by this organization. So for me, there's so much progress that I think it's less about UI, UX, or education, or operations, or organizations. It's probably my biggest concerns are issues of the heart. So humility versus arrogance, inclusiveness versus this is a special club and you're not part of it. Honesty versus grandstanding. So a lot of my big concerns around NFTs are not like UI UX issues or tech issues, although I pull my hair out and I want to bang my fist against the wall with some of the technical things that we face. But those are not my biggest concerns. My biggest concerns is, are the people in the industry going to maintain a sense of meekness and gentleness and inclusivity and wanting diversity and wanting to have different voices? Like, how many people are going to help you, Sean, to be successful with NFT Talks? Because that's a really good sign if a lot of big organizations, if the Consensus and the CoinDesk and the NFT NYC of the worlds do things to help you have success and they're being inclusive and come, a rising tide raises all ships, come, that's a very good sign. But if you feel suppressed by these people, like they won't let you have access to their people to interview them, they won't spotlight you, they won't make room for you, they don't want you well, that's a very bad sign. Okay, because if the people that have authority and power today are trying to maintain that, well, that's a very centralized approach. And that's what we're trying to escape from. So if they're like, come one, come all, come with your questions, there's no bad question. We just want people to jump in and be part of our metaverse, be part of our NFT platform, be part of our cryptocurrency. Like, this is a place where you belong, because it's not just about the why are we doing this, and certainly not about the what are we doing. It's about the who. Who is doing this and who feels like they can be a part of it too, which is why I brought up Sebastian at Sandbox and Dirk at Upland, because the who is the question to answer before the why are we doing this, and sure as hell is more important than the how are we doing this, or what exactly are we doing.
No, I love that answer, Eddie, and I totally agree with you. Okay, so a load of value, so much value from this actual podcast. So I'm happy, and I hope the listeners have enjoyed it. One question I'm going to take, what I've learned, is to ask you: where do you see the NFT space in the next 10 years? So, where do you see?
In the next 10 years, NFTs should be like running water and light bulbs. It should be like going to the gas tank. Nobody asks where the gas come from, who delivered the gas, how's the gas extracted, how is it made. Like, you just go up to the gas tank and you put your card in, or you scan your card, whatever the hell you do, and you put the thing in and you fill your gas tank with gas. It's really simple. That's how you get your car to move. In the next 10 years, NFTs will just be part of society. Most of the things that we do will create NFTs, and a lot of things that we access will be accessed through NFTs. And NFTs will basically be the big data holders. So this is a huge prediction I have. Right now we have these huge multi-billion-dollar big data companies. I believe NFTs will individually hold the data around the content that they declare ownership over. So that's going to be a very, very helpful thing, is that when you acquire this NFT, you can tell every single person that's ever owned it, every engagement that ever happened, every time it was ever written about, every time. Like, all of a sudden, this thing that you acquired, it really matters, because here's the proof. Here's the social proof. So NFTs are just going to permeate society. We'll probably stop calling them NFTs. We probably won't call them Nifties. Nobody's going to say non-fungible token one day. We'll just get to where it's an asset, right?
Yeah.
It's just an asset. So, like, just like a house has a deed and a car has a pink slip, we'll just have assets that have an NFT, a digital collectible, a crypto collectible, a digital asset, whatever we want to call it, an NFT, a non-fungible token, ERC 721, doesn't matter. But these things will just totally take over of society. You'll walk through a home, and that home will likely have thousands of NFTs associated with every single thing. Like, most likely, everything in a home, in a car, in a business, in society will have some sort of tie to what we call NFTs today, to track the engagement and the value of that, and to make the exchange of that item from one person to another. So you walk through a house and you're like, wow, that's such a beautiful sculpture. And the owner says, actually, I don't really want that anymore. Do you want it? Yeah. Well, it's already on OpenSea. And you just say, send the OpenSea link to Bob. And Bob gets it on his glasses and he looks at it and he goes, I totally want that. Yes. The cryptocurrencies exchange from Bob's account to the homeboy that owns the house. Homeboy that owns the house grabs the thing, hands it to him, and every single time that sculpture goes from one to another, it's all tracked: who owns it, why they owned it, what they paid for it. And then they can take that sculpture and create many NFTs of art pieces and collectibles around it. It's up to our wildest imagination what we do with this technology. It's really, 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 really exciting, and it should unlock abundance in the world. NFTs should unlock trillions, ideally hundreds of trillions of dollars of new abundance on an annual level. Because the world is not a big pie that there's limited slices and everybody's fighting for a limited pie. The world is like billions of pies stacked, and we've only started to access the top pie. And there's all of this value that we can create and exchange with one another. to where we really shouldn't have anybody in lack. There should never be a hungry person in 10 years. There should never be an unhoused person in 10 years.
Unless somebody chooses not to do something.
Yeah.
Unless you just choose not to do anything.
Totally. But again, even if that's the case, we should have good enough coordination technology with blockchain that even if people choose not to do anything or engage or make things happen, it's very likely that because of the abundance that we're about to unlock, we'll have a universal basic income that'll work for all liberals and all conservatives, and the Conservative Party, the Labor Party, Republicans, and Democrats can all come around this idea of like, yeah, let's go ahead and give everybody $3,500 a month or 2,500 pounds a month, because like we just have all this abundance that if somebody doesn't want to do anything, at least they can have a minimal life and keep the economy going. While those that want to build have the opportunity to create massive resource. So I think that we're just about to unlock 99%, right? We've like scratched the surface. We have 1% of the world's abundance unlocked through capitalism and centralized corporations and centralized governments. And when we truly decentralize money, government, corporations, communities, and then we start attaching things like non-fungible tokens to it all, we're going to really, our kids are going to be very, very fortunate with the future that they're about to walk into.
I'm going to leave it there with that ending. That's perfect. I mean, I've got kids, so I'm happy to hear the thoughts, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I contribute towards that, and I'm sure you're doing it yourself. It's been amazing speaking to you. Thank you for your time. Is there how can people contact you with regards to socials or whatnot? Or the social links from the
I'm easy to reach. My name's Ian Utile, but it's spelled IANU Tile. So I'm at Ian Utile on every social out there. Our company is attn.live, attn.live. And we're on all the major social media sites as well, pretty active on there. And, we are looking for beta users. We're looking for people that want to have us customize and private label our entire technology around their specific needs. So, we want to engage with people. So contact me, contact our company, and we'd like to have a conversation with you and figure out how we can empower you to achieve some of the things that Sean and I have been talking about today.
Perfect. One more thing before I go. What's with the big wheel? You know the big wheel?
Oh,
I see you doing
the one wheel.
The big wheel. Where is it? Like, where is it? Are you on it now?
I know. I don't have one up here. I'm in the treehouse.
Where is it, man? Like,
I ride that one wheel. I've done 2,000 miles, so it's like basically the size of a skateboard, but it's like a motorcycle. So it has one wheel in the middle. It goes about 20 miles an hour, and I ride that thing almost every single day during sunrise and sunset. So I'll get up at sunrise, I'll go to the beach, and I'll just jam up and down the cliffs, and then I'll work all day and spend time with my family. Then sunset, okay, go back out to the beach and go.
I've seen you do actual talk on that. I watched the Craig talk you was on.
Yes.
The big wheel. I was like, crazy.
So yesterday I had a Zoom meeting. I have 3 guys I'm doing Attention Live broadcasts with. So basically the 4 of us get on Zoom, and then one guy interviews this guy, he interviews him, so like we kind of go in a circle. So I went to the beach yesterday, and I'm on my one wheel for the entire thing. I'm just kind of hanging out at the ocean, and it was pretty fun. So yeah, I include the one wheel in all aspects of my life.
All right, that's it. All right, well, thank you again.
Yes, Sean.
Like I said, hopefully we can connect again further on down the line when
I like that.
Things are happening, because it's happening at a rapid pace. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure today, man. So everyone, thank you for listening. Stay listening and stay blessed.